All right, welcome back to Builders, Makers, Doers here. We've got a great episode today with Jesse Phillips, who's actually on the Ellerbrock-Norris team as our Director of Safety. And we're going to talk all things safety today, safety in the trades and what it means to be on a job site, how to operate safely. And so this is going to be a great conversation that you can take back to your job sites and create a safe work environment. What's up, Jesse?
Well,
thanks for coming on the show. You didn't have to travel very far. Couple offices down.
Couple feet. Made it here.
Yeah. Well, this is going to be fun because obviously, we talk to, on the show, we usually interview business owners, folks in the trades. And I think as we know, safety in general, when it comes to trades is so important in any trades business, whether you're a contractor with job sites, whether you're a manufacturer with a four-wall exposure, et cetera. We ultimately want all of our people going home safely at the end of the day. And we never want to have an instance where, somebody gets hurt. And so we thought this would be a fun conversation just to kind of talk about what you're seeing out in the industry, the trends, where safety is going, and then, how can people create good and safe work environments, and what does that mean? So just talk through generally, maybe give a little bit of the state of safety, your background, and then what are you seeing out on job sites in particular? I think that's where the biggest change has come in the last few years, but kind of what are you seeing out there?
Well, I worked in the trades for several years, starting in my late teens, early 20s, and back then there wasn't a whole lot of levels of safety. There's a lot of cowboys out there doing what they want, and as time went on, a lot of people realized the need, especially when it comes to workman's comp claims. Mm-hmm. So as time went on, layers of safety have been added and added and added. And with the implementation of data centers and their requirements over the years, it's become robust.
Yeah.
What they require from a GC, which trickles down to every subcontractor within the project. And since the data centers have been so strict on safety, it's trickled down outside of that as well now.
Yeah.
So you're seeing that trickle down to every job that you see. So that being said, a lot of people are forced to get on board. Mm-hmm. It costs money. It takes time, especially if your culture isn't where you want it to be.
Yeah.
And that's one thing we experience all the time. You can implement all you want. But if you're not enforcing, your culture is not changing whatsoever. So what I'm seeing out there is a lot more people getting on board, unfortunately, just because they're forced now. But they are seeing the effect. Not only are they sending people home safer every day, they're seeing it on their bottom line. Mm-hmm. So I like to see that because when I first got into safety, you're not taken seriously.
Yeah, totally.
You're the safety guy. Nobody wants to see you coming. And that goes into relationship building. So the perception of somebody in safety when they step on a job site is, this isn't somebody you want to see.
Yeah, the cop.
The cop, yes. Yeah. They're out to get me. And not the case. And unfortunately, a lot of people took on that role. Mm-hmm. They felt that sense of empowerment, and they addressed it the wrong way. Mm-hmm. So I've never approached it that way. Everybody who works for us doesn't approach it that way. That's known out of the gate, and I think we've done a good job at handpicking some people who understand that and get nothing but praise out in the field for the way they interact with the client.
Yeah, that's a big deal. Yeah, I think it's been interesting to see. Obviously, we've been preaching, developing a culture of working safely. But to your point, these are contractors that are trying to get work done, and the guys just want to, build the building or whatever and don't want somebody looking over their shoulder. But it's been interesting to see with the data centers, particularly, around here, a bunch are being built, but they're being built across the country. And it's typically, to your point, there's a trickle-down effect, even outside we've seen, I think, and I'd be curious if you agree, outside of just the data centers, because you might get a large GC that is, national. Some of these GCs that are doing a data center job, but that's not the only job they're doing. But a lot of times those requirements spill over into other jobs they're doing. And
Absolutely.
So, it's overall a good thing. I mean, they're pretty stringent, and sometimes it can be tough to deal with. But I think overall that's part of the reason why we're seeing this is, they're taking these requirements and spreading it across work. I mean, is that something you guys are seeing too?
Absolutely. And I think it's, numbers don't lie.
Yeah.
So when you implement all these things and you enforce all these things, there's analytics involved. that literally show that these things work.
Yeah.
So if you can get everybody on board, get everybody compliant on a data center, the rule is you have no choice. These are the rules. And if you don't abide by them, then you're gone. And that's trickling down to other projects now as well. Mostly with your larger general contractors, your J.E. Dunns, your Turners, your McCarthy's of the world, they don't take it and they don't accept it, and it works. So that's trickling down to some of the smaller GCs in town that we work with as well. We bring a lot of that knowledge we've learned from the data centers to these other projects, to our clients. And now that they're implementing it and time goes by, they see the value in it. They see that it does work, but you have to get on board, and not just from the safety side of things. You have to have people internally that get on board as well and help enforce and help pass that message along that, no, this is something we do now. It's not something we just talk about.
Yeah, totally. Well, I want to get to a little bit of like what a day looks like. What does it mean when you're going out, and what are you looking for, and all those things. But before that, talking about just some of the benefits that we see and we have found with contractors, because it doesn't just go to injuries, which that's, ultimately you'd think it'd be obvious. But the reason we try to operate safely is we don't want people getting hurt. You don't want people getting injured. That's first and foremost. And I think anybody that has had a major job site injury would tell you, that's the last thing you want to have happen, just from your own personal grief and, all the things that go into that. And your team sees somebody get severely injured. There's a big impact that has across the team. And so you never want that to happen. But then there's also downtime. A lot of those soft costs never get calculated. Absolutely. When OSHA has to show up and shut down the job because they got to do their investigation, and how far does that put you behind, and work comp costs and all those things that go into it. And so I think it's important that, contractors and manufacturers, people that are dealing with these risky jobs and such, are thinking through that. So how do you, when you're talking to those clients, what's your general sense? Are they thinking of it that way, or is it still like we got a lot of education to do?
Depends on the client, to be honest with you. We've got a lot of clients that have done a great job self-performing out of the gate. We praise them for that, but we do identify gaps within that, and we can assist them with that. A lot of them have a lot of good things in place, but they don't use it. They don't implement it. They say we have it on paper, but we're not implementing anything. We're not using it, and that goes enforcing in, nobody's owning it within the company.
Which, by the way, is almost worse. If you have a policy and you're not enforcing it, it's almost worse than not having a policy.
Absolutely, without a doubt. So we talk a lot about, involvement. We can go do as many audits as you want. We can train as much as you want. We can get you on board with all the documentation that you want. But if you're not performing out in the field and holding your employees accountable for safety violations, not providing their daily documentation on a regular basis, it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. So helping people build programs and being able to actually execute. So the execute is the part that we help people get across the finish line. And then we have clients that have absolutely nothing, and they're growing, and they're getting
they need to start,
asked from general contractors, clients, can you provide us with your training documentation? Can you provide us with equipment evaluations? Make sure these people know how to operate this equipment. And they're deer in the headlights. And they get in a big hurry. They call us, they want us to do it immediately. And we say, there is a method to this madness. We can get it done, and we can get it done in quickly. But at the same time, let's not check a box here. Let's build this into a culture and continue that. Keep going. So we've had a lot of success as of late customizing programs for clients, whether it be from the ground up or just filling in the gaps, like we said. So far, so good. A lot of positive feedback. We've also placed safety professionals on data centers for clients and staffing. And what I've found is it used to be, we just need a warm body. We just need somebody out here just to be here to appease.
We don't care if they sit in the truck all day.
We just want to appease the client. Well, not so much the case anymore. So we've really vetted our people we have in the field. They're doing a fantastic job. We get a lot of good feedback from them. And that's just, judge of character on our part, I think. You can come in with all the acronyms and all the experience in the world, but if you're not able to have a good relationship with the people in the field, Let them know you're there for support. You're not there to throw them under the bus. You want them to go home safe, and that is your job to help them do that. We're doing a hell of a job.
Yeah, have the hard conversations, create the culture, all of that. And I think it is really important. You got to have somebody there that can, sometimes when you're doing the work, you don't even realize that you're unsafe. We all think we're Superman when we're, trying to build something, trying to get something done. And, that's the job of a third party, is to kind of say, whoa, hang on. Like, did you notice that this is that way, or some electrical issue, or, and you just don't notice it. And it could be a major risk. And so it's really important to have that other set of eyes. But I wanted you to get a little more into what, when you go out on a job site, because we a lot of times have clients that will hire us to, be that quote unquote, fractional safety person or whatever, that they need to come out and, walk our job site, tell us where we're seeing safety violations, let's say, or whatever. And then we can provide the remedies and how can we create, again, that culture and fix these things, et cetera. But like, what does that look like when you're going out on a job site? Just talk generally about what you're looking for. What's the top unsafe violations isn't the right word, but actions maybe that you see. Like what's that look like when you're going out onto a job site?
Well, the first thing that I normally look for is, do you have any documentation out of the gate? Did you start your day by identifying hazards?
Oh, yeah.
What is your task? What are the hazards within your task? And what are the controls you're going to put in place to mitigate that? And these have become, they call them a JSA, Job Safety Analysis, or a PTP, pre-task plan.
A lot of acronyms.
Yeah, a lot of acronyms. A lot of them mean the same thing. But these are things that are implemented on data centers and now across the board. They're wonderful tools. So if you start the day off by identifying this as a group, don't have the foreman do it by himself, sitting in the trailer. Everybody get on board, get on the same page. I see if they're doing things like that. Are we starting the day like that? Because that's the way to start the day.
Yeah.
If not, are you doing anything at all? Are you prepared for what hazards you might encounter? Do you have the proper PPE? Are you working at heights? Have you put together a fall protection plan? I get deer in the headlights all the time. Well, yeah, we have our harness.
Yeah, they don't know.
We've got our lanyard.
Yeah.
Well, what are you going to do if Joe falls and he's hanging off the side of the building? Do we have means to get him down, or is he just going to hang there? Because that's not good.
Yeah.
That's not a good situation. So, fall
seems
protection
so obvious,
plans,
but then it's not.
It does. And it opens a lot of people's eyes to, like, I never really thought about that. Like I said, data centers have these requirements for the most part. They're enforcing it. They're making sure you're doing it, because if you're not, you're gone. It's kind of sad that it's got to get to that point to where if we don't do this, we're thrown off the job. But if we go to a job where we're not going to be thrown off, to hell with it.
Yeah.
Not a good way to look at it. So
Totally.
Those are the things I look for initially. And then just behaviors. A lot of people become complacent. They're doing the right thing. They're doing the right thing. They're doing it over and over again. And then that one time they decide to step up on that ledge, or they decide to go outside of what they would normally do. I can reach that. I can just get it real quick. Not a problem. So you look for complacency. We also notice things as a third party when we're working with groups who already have safety implemented. Even the safety professionals become a little bit complacent, or they become a little bit of a good old boy network, to where these are my buddies. I've gotten to know these guys over the years. I'm not going to throw them under the bus. I may have a conversation with them, but I'm not going to document it.
Yeah.
Well, just because you've documented something that might be outside of compliance does not mean that it shouldn't be documented. We want to look for trends here. We want to look for redundancies, because redundancies are going to lead to that accident.
Yeah.
So if we can address those out of the gate and have good conversations, document it, let the client see it and have conversations, and assign corrective actions. So corrective actions is massive. So if you're not assigning corrective actions to remedy these issues, they're just conversations.
Yeah.
Conversations are going to be forgot 5 minutes after the fact, and they're going to go right back to doing what they were doing. So documentation, holding people accountable. Who's going to fix this? Who's going to have the conversation? Should we have a stand down and talk about this because it is redundant? Do we need to retrain because of these redundancies? So bringing in a third party and getting a set of eyes that's not biased is can be very beneficial.
Yeah,
without a doubt.
That's a great point. I mean, I think any of us can realize, like, you it's like in your house, you see the thing that needs to be picked up, but once you see it for a couple days in a row, it's like it's invisible and you just never see it again.
Absolutely.
It's the same thing if you're working on the same job site every day,
Yep.
You might see an unsafe action, but guys do it 2 or 3 days in a row and all of a sudden you're not seeing it anymore.
Absolutely.
And so I think that's a great point from that outside third party that can just help you remember, see the things you're missing. But then also to your point, trends is a big deal. If it's a one-off thing, we correct it, no big deal, right? But if we're starting to see that thing across multiple crews and, what do we need to then do to fix this more systemic issue?
Absolutely.
And to your point, is it training? Is it a full stand down because it's very unsafe to operate on this job site right now? So on and so forth. And so I think that's where the third party can come in for sure.
Absolutely. And, PPE is always a huge issue on job sites, especially when it gets hot. People
Can't blame people.
People have that hard hat on. They have the safety glasses. They've got the gloves in most cases now, and you get hot. You want to take it off for a little bit. One of our clients, that was a huge issue for them, and the owners were upset because of the amount of money that they spend on PPE.
Yeah.
And I said, well, you got to do more than hand it out. Just because you hand it out doesn't mean these guys are going to be wearing it. So with our presence there and having conversations and training and letting them know what can happen, we've seen a massive turnaround with this company with PPE. It's good to see. We have a few more that are getting there. But creating a culture of safety within a company does not happen overnight.
No.
And that's a hard conversation to have with companies that they want it now. And if they don't see it immediately, they kind of want to point the finger at the safety guy.
Yeah.
And at the same time, you got to let them know that, you guys have been working outside of the realm of safety. And to get everybody on board, especially if you have 50 to 100 workers, it's going to take some time.
Yeah, totally.
But when the time goes on and they start seeing those trends that we talked about, which we can show within our software, within our inspections, within all the documents we compile, get together with the safety committee, and we start to see that trend fall off from bad to good. And it happens. You just got to let them know that it's an everyday grind.
Yep.
Every single day we have to enforce. We have to enforce in a nice way and not get under people's skin, because if they don't respect you, then they're not going to get on board. So at the end of the day, you want everybody to go home safe to their families, and that is a redundant thing said by safety people all the time, but that is the main goal.
Yeah.
But secondarily, if you're not doing these things, you're putting yourself and the company at risk monetarily, without a doubt. People don't understand the impact just one injury can have, let alone if you have a bad month and you have 3.
Yeah. Well, it sticks with you. I mean, I think, again, we deal with this all the time on the insurance side, where a lot of companies have, never had a claim. Their work comp mod is very low, but it's really because they've been lucky. But because they haven't lived it, they don't know. They don't think about it. They just think that, we're doing everything right. But in reality, where the trends come in is that's the stuff that's going to tell you, hey, if this trend continues, it's inevitable that something's going to happen.
Without a doubt.
And somebody's going to get hurt. And not only do you, now you've got an injured employee, but your mod, there's going to be a financial impact, right? Your mod's going to go up. That sticks with you for 3 years. It compounds. And it can be very expensive. And so that's where we'll talk a lot about, there's a financial investment, obviously, to whether you're hiring a safety person on staff or you're hiring an outside third party. But a lot of times there can be an ROI on that investment too.
Without a doubt.
Whether that's, we talked about some of the soft costs, where for every injury you prevent, so a lot of times we don't know it, but for everyone you prevent, you're getting downtime back, you're getting office work back, you're getting insurance. We can actually calculate the insurance costs, but you're saving those dollars that would otherwise go into just injuries.
Without a doubt. I preach these numbers all the time when it comes to investing in safety. A lot of companies want it, and then when they see dollar signs attached to it, they run away, and they're like, no, it's not that important. And then those are the people that usually call me about 6 months later, because now something has happened.
Wonder how that happened.
And they realize, oh, wow, the impact here. So it's normally the ROI is about $4 to $6 per $1 you spend.
Oh, so really? I didn't know that.
That is a true statistic. Look it up, people, if you want, but it's real. So I always tell people that statistic, and I always tell them the same thing. Look it up. I'll look it up for you. I can share it with you. But it is real, and it's important. So, yeah, we have identified a ton of gaps for companies, like I said, even that have robust safety programs.
Yeah.
And through our assessments and through our conversations, it really opens their eyes to be like, how did we miss this?
Yeah.
How did we miss this? Let's remedy that. So that's good to see. And then other people, you identify the gaps, and they don't think that's that big of a deal. But like I said, those are the ones that always call 6 months later.
Yeah. Well, and unfortunately, those are the calls you hate to get, because that means somebody probably got seriously injured.
Yep.
You know, OSHA showed up and they're saying, well, you have to do this. And we've had clients where that it was severe enough that OSHA either said, like, you're shutting down or you are hiring outside safety, or, you know, you're getting a safety professional that we can work with as OSHA, which is scary, to say that we got to fix this, you know, and that's a big deal.
Yeah. And as far as OSHA goes, a lot of companies haven't had a lot of interactions with them. So when they are approached, when something like this happens, they have no clue what to do.
Correct.
They have no clue what to say, and they can get combative sometimes, and not what you want to do with a federal agent.
Yeah. That's so true.
But no, we help companies be prepared for that as well. You know, call me anytime, tell them, sit down, take a seat. We'll get through this. But yeah, a lot of people are deer in the headlights when it comes to that situation.
Well, and, you know, OSHA gets a bad rap, and for good reasons sometimes, but they have a job to do. And ultimately they're tasked with maintaining safe work environments from a regulatory perspective.
Yes.
But I think, to your point, what a lot of businesses don't understand, because they haven't taken the time to train their people, is you have a lot of rights in an OSHA investigation, and you need to know what those are to make sure that the scope of their investigation is appropriate, that, you know, you're not opening yourself up to additional liability that you shouldn't be.
Yep.
And you have the ability to take the time to get your affairs in order and get the right people in place. And and so it's just important that you prepare for that, and you have, just like anything else in your business, have the right processes, procedures in place, know who to call, and whether that's somebody on your own team or, you know, an outside third party like you. So talk through that a little bit. I mean, you don't have to get into the specifics, but just what have you maybe found that business owners are surprised that they, you know, OSHA shows up and they're like, whoa, yeah, go ahead and look wherever, when in reality they need to be taking a second.
Yeah, I guess what they don't know is that you don't have to just invite them on in, you know, unless they have a warrant, of course, then they're going to do what they want. But you can gladly ask them to have a seat. Please let me contact my safety professional, any representative of the company that might need to be here, perhaps my counsel, my legal counsel as well. And there's some questions that you should ask. We won't get into the weeds with it, but initially, you know, why are you here?
Yeah.
For the one thing. And a lot of people know if that's why they're there, that's all they're allowed to look at.
Yeah.
You know,
if they've gotten a call or something about, you know, an unsafe.
Absolutely. And a lot of times, unfortunately, and I preach this to a lot of our clients, especially general contractors, is that, you know, normally when OSHA shows up, obviously after a catastrophic injury or a fatality, but a lot of times it's your competitor was driving down the road, saw somebody on the roof not tied off on one of your job sites, and they're gotcha. Gotcha. It happens often. Secondly, a disgruntled employee, whether it be somebody who's currently under your roof or somebody you currently let go. Extremely common, because they know how you operate.
Very common, yeah.
They know how you operate, and if they feel they've been done wrong and they know that you're non-compliant, they're going to let them know.
Totally.
The competitor thing drives me nuts. I think it's a weak move, but it's real. It happens. Happened to one of our clients recently. Luckily, everything hashed out in an okay way, kind of. It wasn't as bad as it could be, but a picture was provided off of a highway of multiple people not tied off and some excavation issues as well. And they're pretty sure they know who did it.
Yeah.
So, you know, you gotta keep it together.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. And what I think, you know, most people, again, think the OSHA inspector showing up and is out to get them. I think at the end of the day, and I'd love your perspective on this, but that's usually not the case. I mean, I think they understand that most businesses are trying to run a business, right? They're they're not trying to do something that's going to put an employee in a really bad spot. That can happen, and they understand that. But, if you treat them with respect and you know, are nice and cordial, and they're not going to go out of their way to make your life a pain unless, you operate that way. And then they can throw the book at you and really be a thorn in your side. And it can lead to massive fines. It can lead to shutdowns and all the things.
Yep. And that is a case-by-case scenario, and it depends on the individual because, over the years I've run into some individuals that are really there to help.
Yep.
They really want you to do the right thing. They want to tell you exactly what you need to do to remedy what they found.
And give you a chance to fix it.
Give you a chance to fix it before they drop the hammer on you.
Yeah.
And then other ones, no matter how polite you are and how much respect you give them, don't care.
Yeah.
So luck of the draw sometimes on who may show up. But for the most part, if you're on board with them and you're willing to work with them and show them respect because they demand it most of the time, it works out better. We've had some situations as of late to where some folks got very upset because they had multiple visits. Mm-hmm. They thought they were being picked on. Justifiably, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I understand where they're coming from. So I got the phone call. They're here. I'm tired of this. I'm going to tell them to get a warrant.
One way to go about it, yeah.
I told him, probably not the best idea because it comes back with the warrant. It's a whole different situation. You don't have any skin in the game now at all because they're going to get it if they want it.
They will.
So my advice was just to play nice, tell them to sit down. We'll come in, we'll have a talk, and we did. And the redundant visit was because the initial visit was so poor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we walked through, showed what's been implemented, showed the timeline of the other larger items that will be implemented, and they were happy. We just came back to see if you actually are doing what you said you were going to do.
Yeah.
And in their situation, it was justifiable that they did show up again. Was it a little soon? I think it was a little soon. But nonetheless, nonetheless, walked out with no more citations, no more fines, and the ball's still rolling.
Yeah.
I told them they will be back. They will be back again. So just be prepared, just like we were this time, but don't get upset.
Yeah.
There
at the
was
end of the day, that's their job. Like you said, is their role is to make sure that you're doing the things you say from a safety perspective.
Absolutely. And the way you handle it, and depending on the state of your environment when they show up, you can be put on the naughty list.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are, you will be visited more often. It's just the nature of the game.
Yeah. Okay, so just as we're kind of wrapping up here, I always love to ask, in your career, in your experience, what's been the most surprising thing you've seen on a job site or the thing you walked up and just like, I can't believe that I just saw that or witnessed that or that was happening?
Okay, so this will go back to probably 2013. Water tower. Some gentlemen are painting on the water tower, and they just decided instead of climbing the ladder down that they're going to rappel.
All the way
They
down
don't have really the equipment to rappel properly. So about halfway down, the first one that attempts it, he's stuck.
Yeah.
So the next guy, I'm going to go get him and help him out. He just doesn't know how to work his rope grab. He doesn't know how to do this, that. That individual goes down. He's in the same situation. So they call me. I show up, and these two guys are just hanging out off a water tower, and they're smoking cigarettes. They're hanging out like nothing's going on. And I told them, "How you feeling?" Well, my legs are getting numb.
Yeah.
I can imagine. So once again, no fall protection plan in place. How are we going to get these guys down?
Yeah.
So we had to go to a local farmer down the road and literally get some equipment that was tall enough to just get to these gentlemen and get them down.
Oh, my goodness.
Funny story is, a week later, same thing.
They did
tried
it
it again. They got further down, but still got stuck. Luckily, this time, the second gentleman made it down to the bottom and was able to go get apparatus to get the individual down. That's one of them. And another one was an individual that thought he could jump from a roof. This was in a residential atmosphere, onto an excavation spoil pile, a large pile of dirt right next to it. Well, when you're on a roof, you really can't gauge the distance. It looks like it's right there. So this guy just took off running, thought he was cool, took a leap, nowhere close.
Oh, no.
Nowhere close. Hit the ground. Femur broke. So I wouldn't say these are funny, but they're just people
not being smart.
not being smart whatsoever.
Well, the rappel one is kind of funny. Nobody got hurt. And it's like,
hurt.
You did it again?
Yeah, and I think this is something that these gentlemen had done before successfully, but it just didn't work out this time. And they thought they were just having fun.
Yeah. Well, that's how a lot of times you get hurt. Right?
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Awesome. Well, I think this has been great. I hope, it enlightens people a little bit on taking safety seriously because, like we said, ultimately, we want to create cultures of working safely. We want everybody going home with 10 fingers, 10 toes. And then there's as we talked, there's all the ROIs that go along with that. But that's the secondary, honestly, effect of operating safely. So it is an investment, and it is not only of money, but of time and, work and people, and takes commitment. But it is very important that, it's a passion of ours that we're making sure people understand the importance of working safely. And it's kind of nice to see that it's being pushed down through some of the data centers, right, wrong, or indifferent. But
absolutely,
it's positive.
Yep.
So thanks for taking some time today. And
thank you,
everybody. We'll see you on the next episode.